Today I'm going to be talking about the turn-based game that lets you use stim packs to heal, and no, I'm not talking about Fallout 1 and 2, I'm talking about Shardpunk Verminfall, which is both of those things. Now, if you're a nostalgia gamer or a fan of 8-bit games, or just a fan of turn-based games in general, please tune in for this video, and if you're a Fallout fan, be sure to check out the rest of my channel. I threw this game to my indie game expert in the household, aka my husband, who has played hundreds of indie games, and is kind of hard to please in that arena because he has invested a lot of time and money in them. So he gives me his honest takes after playing this game for a little over 2.5 hours. We're going to be doing a little bit more game reviews on this channel as we get further into this year, so be sure to stay tuned for those. And without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so this is Charlie here. So you got a chance to play the video game. What did you think of it?
That was all right. I thought it was like you know, decent, average Flash game.
Mm-hmm. And what did you think of like the different inspirations that it pulled from within the game? Like it obviously it had stim packs in it. Was there anything else that you noticed from other games?
Um, well, I think there's definitely like a nod to D&D going on
Mm-hmm.
because of the turn-based combat, the action points, the way it is. You can only do so much. There's a combat turn. There's a movement turn. I think it's something I'm seeing with like other indie games right now. Another one I would think of is like Floppy Nights, or even South Park, Stick of Truth, Fractured Butthole. Like they have similar kind of gameplay,
Mm-hmm.
but the movement, yeah, very very linked to classic. You pull out the mat, you can only move so many spaces because of your character, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And it was like overall, was there like a lot of like lore in the game that you found, or was it more just like based off of using these characters and moving through the space?
It was just a lot of moving through the space, kind of action driven. I think they were leaving a lot to be explained later, but um, there's just not a lot that you can find as far as what the lore is, which I think the game would really benefit from if
Mm-hmm.
it wanted to be something that was worth, say, more than like $5.
Interesting. I mean, but you did end up playing it for how many hours? Like almost 3 hours yesterday, and you put down Tears of a Kingdom for that. So, I mean, does that speak at all to the quality of the game in your mind, or does that change your opinion of it at all?
No, because I think so. In my opinion, you could do the same exact thing with, say, Bejeweled. You know,
True.
it's any mobile game could wind up eating just as much time. It's just this one happened to be online and was like a kind of Steam kind of game. But yeah, I think I was kind of impelled to continue just because there is a lot of leveling up. There's a lot of um, spending skill points and getting better skills, but that's just being addicted to the grind, you know?
Hmm. So
The
who
things that actually get you to stick around for longer is
yeah.
a good story.
So who do you think this game would be most appealing to then? For like my audience, obviously it's a lot of Fallout fans, but then there's the original Fallout fans who like that
Mm.
turn-based style and everything. And while this has that turn-based, it seems like it has a little bit less of like the lore element. Do you think it would still be appealing to those people who are in my audience?
Yeah, but I wouldn't, again, I would not market this as something the same caliber.
Yeah. Obviously it's
I would
different
say
and
this was just a
it's
mobile
8-bit
game.
too.
Yeah.
I could see also D&D people really liking this one. Because I mean, I think there is an element too with D&D of like coming up with your own headcanon of what's happening and things like that too. And maybe that would be a like a fun idea. And you are switching between how many characters in that? What did you think of that mechanic of it?
I thought it was cool. I thought that, the fact that you have like a party of like 3 people you start with and a robot, and then you can upgrade the people, you can upgrade the robot, you can get up to 4 people and a robot. Um, as you upgrade, you can find new people. Um, I yeah, I guess it was all right. It's just it's all pre-made. I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know where else to go with this.
I mean, that's okay. I think it's an indie game. So, with regards to it being an indie game, like, what do you think of like the caliber of it as an indie game compared to? I mean, you're an indie game connoisseur to some extent. You do
Mhm.
play a lot of 8-bit games, and you do play a lot of like these different style and look and a whole different range
Mhm.
of games, more than I have the patience to like get invested in. So, within that like scope of looking at this game, how do you feel about it?
Mm, I think that it's okay. So it's definitely more advanced than just like a little sim. You're not just farming or anything. In my head, I keep going 7 out of 10. I'd say it's just
Okay.
an average indie game.
I think that's a little bit
Um,
above average, but and obviously it has a
well,
lot of room to grow to add this lore into it if that's where they want to go, or maybe you hadn't hit a point where that was happening yet, just with the like three
possibly,
hours.
yeah, possibly. And then I do appreciate. I like 8-bit because of the nod to nostalgia and the
Yeah.
fact that it is turn based and the fact that the way it plays is definitely something I could see playing on Adult Swim back in the day,
Hmm.
or even like if I did want to play this with friends just as a tabletop, I think it would
Yeah.
easily
I
translate.
mean, you could probably switch out too. Like each person is a different character kind of deal, I imagine. It wouldn't be perfect, but
Yeah. Um, I think what would be cool is like if this was to get DLC or something like that.
hmm.
Um, not just new characters, maybe like new power ups. I feel like just having 2 action points during gameplay can get a little bit
Yeah, that's true.
wearisome.
Hmm.
I like to be able to um, do more per turn, but
That's true. So at the outset, just one last thing wrapping up. At the outset of this game, it warns you that the game is really difficult and that you're going to be overwhelmed by enemies and that it might not be easy. I mean, me personally, I don't really do a lot of turn based games like the original Fallouts I've done. They're really hard. I struggle with them. But how did you
uh,
feel about that warning of it being super challenging and the fact that it's turn based being challenging?
I don't even remember that.
It was right at the
I
beginning of the game. It's like, warning, this game is challenging. You're going to be inundated with enemies and things like that. So, did you not feel that playing it or no?
no, no, but I think it's also, yeah, you don't play it like you don't spend a bunch of time. Like you don't get a bunch of turns. Like
True.
the
So, that
goal
could make
is
it challenging for maybe
get
people who
us.
aren't as good at turn based.
Yeah, I think this would be a struggle for say kids in like elementary school
Right. And I
or
don't know
maybe
if
even
it's
early
for
middle
them
school.
either. There's a little bit of violence. Obviously, it's 8-bit violence, but it is still,
Yeah, and I don't think they would have the same appreciation as like kids that grew up like me,
adults.
so basically adults that grew up with 8-bit and
Right.
turn based.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, for appeal of this game, it seems like it is in the realm of being like very appealing to people who like turn-based games, to people who grew up with 8-bit games, to nostalgia gamers, even maybe Fallout fans with a little less lore. Is that kind of where you landed on like who this game is for?
I think, yeah, I'd say it's a nod to RPG players, but really it's more for the turn base,
Right.
like turn-based combat. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So, I mean, thanks so much for playing this game and chatting with me about it. Also,
Yeah.
happy anniversary. Um,
Happy anniversary, honey. 6 years. Woo.
woohoo! So, I mean, wrapping up, is there anything else you wanted to add, just about the game or about your experience, or anything like that?
I would say that
I mean, I'm watching right now and it's talking about fusion cores, which is cracking me up. There's a lot of like fun Easter eggs in there, I think.
yeah, it definitely. So the reason I thought it wasn't hard was because certain weapons are more OP than others. Like the use of grenades, basically makes it so that way you're able to kill large amounts of enemies. Uh, I'd say, as a tip, you definitely want to keep your characters covered, like like watching each other's backs. Um, don't don't let your robot progress into an area faster than the others because I think the game explains it, but if that character dies before all the others, you lose.
Interesting.
Um, and yeah, I mean, if you're gonna play it, it's worth at least a good 3 to 10 hours worth of gameplay. Um, and then if you don't return to it, then that's fine.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
obviously more appealing to people who like turn-based, to who like that kind of game style and like, this retro style that might bring them back to another place. Maybe
Yeah, and
it's kind of cozy in some way, even though it's a violent game. It's a cozy game for some.
it's definitely cozy because of how much you are indulging in nostalgia. So
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for
yep.
playing the game, testing it for me. Hopefully we can in a better recording setting get you back and have you review more games on the channel. I know you want to do that, but thank you, Charlie. We will
You're
talk
welcome,
again soon about
Nikki.
other games.
Okay.
All
Sounds
right.
good, hon. All right.
Sweet. So there you have it. That's my husband's take on the game. I think that honestly, that type of game is not for me, which is why I gave it to my husband. I'm not a big turn-based game person. I have done turn-based game. I've done the original Fallouts, and I have a hard time of getting I'm not good at them. But he is, and I thought it would be good to throw that to him so we could get his takes on it. Obviously, he's a little hard to please, but he did end up playing that game for multiple hours to the point where I had to say, hey, it's like 1 a.m. Do you want to go to sleep? Like, you have work in the morning. So we will be doing more game reviews like that in the future. So keep an eye out for that. We'll actually record them here. I just needed to get it done today because we're going to the Xbox event over the weekend. So I was running out of time. But some of the key features of this game are, according to the website, XCOM meets Darkest Dungeon as Shardpunk Verminfall combines turn-based tactical battles with the hard choices made at the bunker. It's obviously grid-based. You have a little motley crew of characters, as we covered up there. And it's very steampunk. They're calling it Victorian steampunk, which that's interesting to me. That's fascinating. And obviously they're pulling a lot of inspiration from a lot of different games. As you saw, there was the stim pack. There's also a lot of stuff, not all references that I get. It's definitely, if you're into turn-based, if you're into pixel art, it's only $15.99. So maybe worth a shot. If you could get a discount on it too, maybe you would even like it even better. It looks like it's 20% off on Steam right now. Am I saying that right? Yes, it is. It is $9.59 on Steam right now. So, if you're into that retro stuff, have at it. But I really hope that you enjoyed this video and keep an eye out for more of my husband's reviews in the future. We will film them, not while he's working, which will help. But thank you so much for tuning in, Wastelanders. Stay safe. I will see you at the Xbox event this weekend. If you're going, I can't wait to see you. Thank you so much for the review copy of this game to Shardpunk. That was sweet of you. And have a wonderful day. Later.